Hello friends, welcome to our reading today. I am coming to you from my lovely desk at home, and I wanted to go over some of the upcoming energies. We have the sun in Libra, as you well know, and we all have the moon moving into Pisces, and it will be in Pisces for the next 2 days before it moves into the full moon in Aries. And the full moon in Aries will happen Sunday. I forget the exact time right now, but it will happen Sunday. Actually, I can tell you, I have my little book right here. It will happen Sunday at 1:55. So you're going to be feeling that build up throughout the weekend. So this is a great preparation time before the full moon, especially moving into Pisces. We're going to feel that kind of like that more receptive, introverted energy, and also that creative and intuitive side of our feelings and how we are processing our feelings and moving through those. You may feel more psychic inclinations come up while the moon is in Pisces. And while we're doing that, it's kind of a good thing to take inventory on what you want to release and where you want to focus your energy, and how you want to kind of process things before we move into that full moon, because the full moon is going to be super intense. It's going to be an Aries full moon. So, Aries is, the first fire sign of the zodiac. It's the first sign of the zodiac. So it's that first spark of life. It's that spring energy, that springtime. When we celebrate the vernal equinox, where everything's bursting into life, we're bursting with new energies. So this is like our emotions bursting and with new energies, and it could be really good or it could be really detrimental depending on where our focus is and how we're processing things. So try to clean things up beforehand, before we move into that fire energy, with some self-care you can do, whether it's self-care for your body, self-care for your mind, soul self-care, so this is all along the lines of, taking care of your body, whether it's exercising, massage, going on a little adventure. Just be careful as we move into this full moon in Aries. Any abrupt movements, fast movements, handling heavy machinery, just take your time and think twice before you move into things, okay? And also, emotions can get out of hand when the moon goes into Aries. So take a step back before you choose to say something. Take a breath. Remember, Libra is where the sun is. So Libra is how we interact with others and our relationship. And if we're acting in like diplomacy, or if we're acting in like bring out that sword of justice, and we're heading towards somebody, we don't want to do that when we have that full moon in Aries. Definitely, of course, stand our ground, be true to who we are, have integrity, have truth, but you're not going to rush somebody. That probably wouldn't be the best thing, especially during this full moon, coming into the full moon period. So as the moon is moving into Pisces, relax, focus on where you want to go, what you want to do, take account, take inventory. That would be my input for that time period. And so today we're pulling from one of my favorite my decks, the Star Codes Astro, which I use this deck quite a lot. So the first card we have is the Midheaven. We're coming to that pinnacle point. When I saw this, I was like, okay, prepare, with that full moon coming in. What are we bringing to a pinnacle in our life? What are we shining? The Midheaven is in the top of the chart. It's what we shine in life, what people see, and who are we bringing to the table? Who are we bringing to life? Who are we bringing to light? Okay, so kind of take inventory of that. This time period is going to call for healing. We got the Chiron card. Of course, Chiron is the wounded healer, and the the moon will be conjuncting Chiron while kind of in that full moon period. And so this will bring up wounds for processing, wounds for healing, emotional. It could, deal with all types of Aries feelings, like how to direct your power, how your ego may present itself, all types of those individualistic characteristics are going to be up for kind of renewing and healing. So be aware of that. It's funny because we got the conjunction card right here. So the midheaven, Chiron conjunction. I just mentioned that conjunction between Chiron and the moon. So before I did the reading, I kind of feel into what Spirit wants me to bring forth. And one of the things I heard was write down any wounds that are needing healing. Do like a little meditation beforehand, or at any time between now and the full moon. Do the meditation and see what comes to mind. Like where in your life that there's been pain or upsetness, where you feel like it's bruised, and what needs some extra love and healing and releasing so that you can move forward and bring your best light to the table of life. Okay. And then we have the 6th house, sustainability. So 6th house is all about like our daily life, our body. How are we taking care of our body? It's ruled by the sign Virgo. So, it's super important that we listen in and see what our body's telling us, and how we could shift and really soothe ourselves as we move from day to day. Like how do we need to change our life to be in more alignment with our true will and our true purpose? And the last 2 cards, I think it's a little different this time. I like to switch things up. Juno and 5th house. So are you in alignment with your partnerships and your passion? So when I see this card, yes, it could be like partnerships, like romantic with another person. It could be your divine union, with your higher presence, your I am presence, your God source. So be aware of that. Are you in alignment with your higher presence? Are you living your passions, your dreams, your truth? Are you living in a way that sustains your body and is healthy for your mind and your soul? These are all things that are coming up, and it's a great time as the moon's moving through Pisces to reflect on these, to write them, to feel through them. So when that moon moves into Aries, you've done some of that processing, and so that the bursts of fire and the bursts of life are more positive process births. And anything that does come up, you're just a little bit more prepared. And just always taking that step back and going, okay, what is my space? Like, this is my bubble, and that space between that stimulus and response. That's a great way of saying it. I don't know if any of you have read that book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. I read it like 20 years ago, but it talks about that bubble and that space between stimulus and response, and how we can go into that and kind of freeze time for ourselves and decide on how we're going to act. We can shift timelines, we can shift patterns, so that we're not repeating, past patterns, whether they be individual, collective, social, but we're creating a new pathway and a new timeline for ourselves. Also, in that book, it talks about our spheres of influence and how really our sphere of influence is right around us. So as we work with what we have around us, we're actually shifting further spheres, but to focus on the one right around us, because that's going to make the biggest ripple, the one within us, and that we actually are directly interacting with, and that's going to cause a ripple, and that's going to cause a ripple, and it's going to ripple outwards. But we have to start within and with ourselves. So, and some of this stuff is stuff you've already heard, you already know, and I'm just you know, that pathway and that bridge for remembering it, you know, holding that space for it. So, and as always, you know, take whatever resonates with you from this reading and from this video message, and leave what doesn't. You will always find the right message for you in life, in whatever time and path you are in. So I'm wishing you many blessings. You can always book a reading. I do them over Zoom, and when I'm in the shop, I will do them in the shop. I'll actually be in the shop on Saturday. So if you'd like to book a reading with me, I'll be there Saturday and probably Sunday too. So I'm probably gonna be there Saturday and Sunday, so we'll see. All right, sending you many blessings and happy full moon. Leading up to the full moon,